Whamstein.
Hello and welcome back to Whamstein. It's that time of year now where everything is getting colder, darker, a little bit sneezier. It's time for sweaters and hot cocoa because it's already been snowing for like 3 months for me, and it's lake effect snow, so even better. It's cozy season. This is the time of year where I like to play more comfortable games. Not that those games aren't still covered in viscera and hardcore action, but they're my kind of cozy where I'm more immersed and I take it slow. Today's game is one that I knew at first sight would be perfect for this. Dredge. But before we start, let me ask a question for you to mull over until I give you my arbitrary answer. What makes something cozy/comfy? Let's find out. Dredge is a 2023 fishing adventure game in which you sell fish and salvage materials to slowly upgrade your ship to catch more and better fish. All the while you solve quests and uncover mysteries about the sea you now call home. That sounds fine on paper, sure, but it doesn't really stand out. What really sets this game apart is the horror and how it does horror. Firstly, I appreciate that it doesn't skirt around or try to subvert it. Up front, the townsfolk let you know that this sea is not right, and there's gonna be all kinds of freaky stuff out there. As a preface for the horror, too, I'm not a fan of sanity meters in games. They feel like the cheapest, easiest way to gamify, making your character go insane. Not that it can't work. If done right and in the right context, I think the simple, cheap method can work better than something more complicated and involved. Case in point being Dredge. In high-stress situations and at nighttime, an eye at the center of your compass will gradually grow and become more feverish. The more it tweaks out like a third grader given a Red Bull, the more you'll experience sudden and horrifying situations that can all negatively impact you. This can be avoided and mitigated by resting at a dock, but eventually you're gonna have to go out at night or take a long trip to a faraway place. Even worse, you might be caught off guard at night and have no dock close by to run to. This has led to me loudly screaming in my bedroom many times. Much more than most horror games do. The horror doesn't take away from what might be considered the main draw, the comfort of fishing and the exploration. In fact, due to how it's implemented as that simple sanity meter, it's infused naturally through every aspect of the game. It's all built around that sanity meter. Most importantly of all, it's what the story is focused on. They want us to get our hands on every corner of this fucked up sea, and by God do they give us good reason to do so. Before I go into the story and spoilers, I'd like to talk about the direct gameplay and the soundtrack. Firstly, the gameplay is very smooth and simple. There's a very natural loop you'll find yourself falling into, or that I fell into, of undocking for the day, going fishing, selling my fish, doing a small bit of dredging and exploring, then resting until the next day. It's comforting in spite of all the sights and sounds they will absolutely be throwing your way. Speaking of the fishing and the dredging, those are split up into several different mini-games, all timed button presses, but with little twists to keep you on your toes. Sometimes they'll throw you a golden sweet spot, always more difficult to hit than the other targets. And if you do so, it gives you a much larger and more valuable version of the fish you were reeling in. But make a single mistake and that sweet spot is gone. There's also several types of fish to catch. From shallows, oceanic, hadal, there's a lot out there to see. All in all, I believe there's over 200 some fish in the game, and you're probably not going to be seeing most of them without going out of your way. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, except for what it's about, but... Dredging, on the other hand, is a single minigame with quite variable difficulty, and is used to gather upgrade materials, find small trinkets to sell, and more importantly, to grab all the goodies needed to progress the story. My favorite. You'll also have access to crab pots and a fishing net. Crab pots will passively collect crabs over time and need to be repaired once their day limit is met. The nets, on the other hand, will catch fish as you're piloting your ship around. Some unique fish can only be caught with the net. I didn't use it often, aside from one quest that necessitated it, and to gather footage, but it'd probably come in handy if you're looking to catch as many fish in a day as possible. I don't know, I think it kind of stinks. Moving on, the soundtrack and sound design. I absolutely adore this game's OST. I bought it for a reason and have been using it in the background for this video. It's not always playing music. Sometimes they leave you with silence. Powerful silence, in fact. Quiet moments to think about what you've seen, what you're doing now, what comes next. Time to contemplate. Time everlasting. Time to play B-sides. Time ain't on my side. Ain't no time to slow. No, wait a minute. This isn't often though, as there's a large soundtrack with many beautiful tracks, all very much doing their jobs as background songs. I often use the soundtrack for when I'm drawing or writing scripts, as it occupies a space I need it to without dragging my attention away from the work. I don't know how to make that not sound insulting in some way, but I do believe this soundtrack is perfect. Each track is about 1 to 2 minutes long, some longer, some a lot shorter, and they flow seamlessly into and out of each other. It's genius, and I'd love to see more games sound like this. Enough dawdling now though. From here on I'll be talking about story and spoilers, so if you're interested at all, I highly recommend that you go buy Dredge and its expansions. The bundle of the game and DLCs runs about 40 USD, but I often see it going on sale, so if you don't want to shell that out, there's no shame in waiting. Now, on to the scary happenings of Dredge. Ooh, scary. We play as a fisherman. I know that's hard to believe. But we play as a fisherman who recently took up a job as the new angler for the town of Greater Marrow, situated in a faraway archipelago. I like that word a lot. There's a dark fog that haunts this sea, and we're tasked by a man known as the Collector to dredge up various artifacts seemingly having to do with the fog. Our first one is hidden around Greater Marrow, just to act as a tutorial for dredging. Next, we're off to the Gale Cliffs, where we dodge a giant eel and help two old brothers stop fighting so we can use their explosives and collect the crest. I seriously wish there was more to say about this area. It's really not that much. It's kind of cool. There's cliffs. It teaches you really early that you're going to have to learn how to navigate around really sharp corners with really slippery handling. It's kind of scary. Ooh. Unfortunately though, not much story. Around this time, we'll have begun collecting odd messages in bottles, penned by a lady only known as J, with seemingly no rhyme or reason. She writes to her husband, but we don't know who he is, so therefore it's not our problem. Yet. Up next, we're off to the Stellar Basin, where we help an abandoned researcher collect fish samples and put a giant squid to sleep with a big machine that she was working on a long time ago. We put that squid to bed, baby, for like a couple hours. It doesn't really count. But we snagged the artifact, that's all that matters. Each time we bring an item back to the Collector, he reads from his dark and scary tome and gives us a new ability for the ship. We now have the abilities to sprint, teleport back to the Collector's Island, and banish the horrors of this world for a little short time. How handy. Our next stop on this fucked up world tour is the Twisted Strand, both my favorite and least favorite area. We meet a pilot who crash landed here alongside some other pilots. He wants us to collect some dog tags on the side, but for our main objective, he'd like us to pacify the natives, and as a reward, we can never have to see this place again. Our final destination... plane explosion. Our final destination is the Devil's Spine. Sick name, I understand. In this gorgeous place, we find an old man who really wants us to complete a ritual for him, so we have to dodge around a giant anglerfish and its stupid, annoying friends, and then kill this old man in order to retrieve our final artifact. All dialogue scenes are told through a very visual novel-esque style, and it's very immersive in the way that I actually am a grown adult that can read and use my imagination and see in my mind's eye what the text is describing to me. I'm not a baby that looks at a visual novel and goes, him and how do I do this? The text scenes in this game are amazing. Sometimes they don't even need text. You don't even need text to tell a story here. The giant squid, it's a giant squid. It don't want people coming around. It wants us dead. It attacks us when it sees us. It just wants to be at peace and alone. And then we put a giant machine in its face and it goes to sleep for a little bit. Maybe it was just tired. We've got all the artifacts we need now. But before we head back to the Collector and end our suffering, I believe I should go over the expansions. First up, the Iron Rig. In the far north of the sea, we come across a large oil rig and research station, owned and operated by the Ironhaven Corporation. These unfortunate bastards are in desperate need of supply crates that we can find all over the sea, using them to gradually upgrade the rig and our own equipment. With our help and a little ingenuity, we managed to contaminate the whole ocean, revive several extinct species of fish, and anger several gods. Go Team Venture! All in all, this one's alright. It had something to do at pretty much any stage of the game, early, mid, and end, but it's kind of tedious, partially for that. I do enjoy the loop of, awesome, I always wanted oil spill fish, now go get more, since it makes use of all the fishing mechanics and it brings a lot of story value to fishing instead of dredging that wasn't all there too much in the base game. On the other hand, I'm a little bitch that hates swapping out my awesome fishing equipment, so I avoided even considering this DLC until after I did everything else, cause I only wanted to do this to gather footage, which is a shame because this is still a lot of fun and absolutely worth playing, but my own incompetence prevented me from enjoying it the way the devs probably intended. In my defense, getting all the cool, big late game upgrades for my ship, and rods and engines and nets and all of it feels like a real achievement. I earned that and I deserve it. I don't want to take it off, even for 5 minutes. This is why Iron Rig is best experienced intermittently throughout the game, as you'll be getting the rods you need for the spills and rods for the main game at the same intervals. All in all, I'll give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Hello, Chud. Have you ever wanted to experience the harsh and brutal reality of an Arctic expedition? Have you ever wanted to find out the real reason why the Nazis went to the ice caps? Do you believe in Agartha? No? What's wrong with you? Come on, let's go. The Pale Reach is, in my opinion, the better DLC through and through, although it does have its own few flaws. Unlike Iron Rig all the way up in the north, this time we're going all the way down south. In another departure from Iron Rig, there's like zero prompting from anywhere to send you down to the Pale Reach. At least with Rig, you might have accidentally stumbled across a crate, or hell, the rig itself is smack dab between Devil's Spine and Twisted Strand. You might just run into it accidentally. Here though, the only indication from the rest of the game that I should even think of heading south was a big spot on the map with a question mark, and me knowing that I wanted to play the DLC. This doesn't take away from the actual experience of it, I just think it would have been nice to have something in the world push us this way, seeing as they kind of already did it once. That aside, once you're here, things keep a pretty consistent pace, quality-wise. We meet up with the pontoon lady, who tasks us with collecting the pieces of an icebreaker so that she can put it on our hull. As well, she gives us the rods necessary to fish in this icy climate. We make our way down deeper into this ice field and come across a lone island. Here we find a man frozen in ice, and now we've got our goal. We need to go around and free each frozen member of this 1840s expedition crew to prevent the evil star god they were hunting from awakening. I know, sounds simple enough, but be wary. The whole time, we're gonna be hunted by a giant narwhal monster that we can lure around and use to open the way to the crew members. Once we've found each crew member, we can go around each of their areas and collect the icebreaker pieces, which, believe it or not, will break the small floating bits of ice that would otherwise damage us and block our path. Now using this, we can collect ice axes and break the crew members free, which we were strictly told not to do. With each one freed, we collect their frozen heart, and an eye on the giant beast closes. Once they're all closed, its giant horn freezes for some reason, and shatters, which we can go grab. The frozen hearts we gathered can be placed into a spire, to which we're given a trawl net that probably would have been cool if I used trawl nets. For starters, I really like that this follows the same formula the rest of the game's locations did. We head to this place, solve a quest, get a small self-contained story, and then we kind of just leave. This would probably be a very good mid-game destination. Maybe after Stellar Basin, but before Twisted Strand. It really feels like it could pace out the main game a lot better. As well, the narwhal would be somewhat of a real threat now, as it could actually catch up to you, maybe, I don't know. You could also actually use the rewards you get for completion. The trawl net is cool because it's just good. It collects shallow, coastal, ice, and oceanic fish, which is already good, but if you're a completionist or just like getting more money, it has an additional 5% aberration bonus, so more freaky fish. The horn that broke off that we can collect simply acts as a two-way portal between the Blackstone Isle and wherever we used it at. This is pretty much only useful before you get the ability to teleport back there at any time, or if you never get that power at all. Small use cases, but still a neat reward nonetheless, especially if you want to get back and forth to a specific spot as fast as possible, which to me defeats the purpose of a lot of the game, but that's besides the point. Oh wait, no it's not. At the start of the video, I asked what makes a game cozy/comfy. Kind of an arbitrary question as it depends on who you're asking. And I'm not even asking you, I'm asking you kind of to ask me. It's kind of a me to me and you to me question. So I'm gonna give both of you and me that answer of what I think makes something cozy. First off, let's get the stupid real definition out. To be cozy is to be comfortable, warm, snug. Generally, you're in a good spot and in a good state of mind. At peace. Oftentimes, this can conjure to mind the image of sitting curled up in a blanket with a cup of hot chocolate while it's snowing outside, or many other scenarios. It's the little moments of pure contentment that we're afforded. There's been a massive push for cozy video games in the past decade because Stardew Valley and other stupid games for idiots were huge, and every fat lesbian thought to themselves, "Ha ha, I could do that in the Alpines with witches, no doubt." And now every game showcase for the past 5 years at least sucks cock sandwich because there's a million farming sims with minor RPG elements for some reason for the goilies. That's usually what people think of when they imagine a cozy game now. Some hack, uninspired, nothing simulator. But I for one think most horror games qualify as cozy games, under my definition at least. And that's why Dredge is one of the most relaxing and comforting experiences I've ever had in gaming. For me, it's the same reason one might find comfort watching horror movies on a rainy day. Aw man, it fucking sucks outside. I'd feel better if I watched some people get their stomachs ripped out of their mouths. It reminds me of being a kid and having a day off of school, so in a way it touches on nostalgia. At the end of the day, I think that's what most things labeled as cozy are really trying to get you feel. Something that brings you back to when life was simpler. That's why Stardew Valley, for all the good that it is, inspired a bunch of hack idiots, because they all remembered, I remember Harvest Moon 2 now, a game I never played or heard of before Stardew Valley existed, and kind of only tangentially is related to Stardew Valley in a lot of ways. It's really not like Harvest Moon, whatever, but they both tug at nostalgia. Hell, you could probably even take the warmth of swaddling in a blanket on a cold day as reminiscing back on being in the womb, but I'm not an expert, and you probably don't remember being up in there, so I can't really say. Jury's still out on that one. Dredge fits into this in two ways. Firstly, idiots that buy cozy games love simulators, and they love fishing in games. Dredge happens to be a fishing simulator, so it's like the heavens aligned. The gameplay never gets super complicated or stressful, so it's always keeping this air of relaxation, to a degree. It then fits my kind of cozy because it reminds me of my many sick days I spent home from school playing shit like Dead Space and Metroid and reading creepypastas way past bedtime. It puts me in that nostalgic comfort zone that I honestly haven't felt before. I usually don't fall for nostalgia like that, so hats off to these guys. Ultimately, does it matter that Dredge is Uwu Wholesome Chungus 100? No, not even a little bit. That doesn't affect its overall rating, unless you're an idiot and a hack. But I'm just trying to tell you, man, there's something here I'm trying to teach you. It's about vibes, it's about atmosphere. It's like 90% of why anyone plays video games. If you play video games, for all I know you're one of the people that only watch video essays about games, then hi, I'm Whamstein. I wouldn't say I make video essays, but I sure do seem to enjoy giving terrible explanations of the events of games, so subscribe to me, please, I'm desperate. So, last time we left off, we got the last artifact, and we're on our way back to the Blackstone Isle. Once we've made our way back home, we hand over this artifact and are asked to wait a little bit before we can do the collector one last favor. He joins us on our ship as we make our way out into the sea. Here's when a bunch of shit goes down. He starts doing a ritual with the book and throwing all the artifacts we just gave him back into the ocean. Our wife's ghost shows up, which, hey, that's cool. We have a wife and she's dead. Also, Super Dagon Cthulhu is in the back there and is gonna destroy the world. Good job, man. So, all of this seems kind of psychotic and a little sudden, but it's all fairly well built up, actually. First off, the collector is us. He's the main character. He's just like having an episode. He's off his meds and manifests all his dark intentions as someone else so he doesn't feel the guilt of what he did or what he's going to do. Ooh, but that's odd. What do I mean by what he did? Well, somewhere around Devil's Spine-ish, we can find a little island with the old mayor of Greater Marrow, and he's gone insane, but he talks a lot of sense, he does. He tells us about a man dredging up a book of dark secrets and it getting his wife killed and the mayor stranded here. He warns us to throw that book back in the ocean. At the time, we have no idea what he even means, but yeah, that was us. We pulled the evil book out of the sea. The only reason he even springs this conversation on us is he recognizes us. We actually have the book. It's probably the same ship, too. Remember those messages in bottles, too? Yeah, that's our wife. She's Jay. And she tells us all kinds of cool, fun stuff. Mostly just alluding to her death and how it's our fault. Now that we know that we suck, we can go back through the whole game all over again just to get the other ending. Yay! Don't sound too excited. You can do it all over again just for a different ending this time. Yeah, all you do this time around is go around and grab the same stuff and just don't give it to the collector. You don't really talk to him. And I don't really care. Honestly, I didn't even bother getting footage of this one. The normal ending is perfectly tragic, it fits the themes and everything else, so boo, moving on. Oh wait, there's nothing more to move on to, that's it. The world ended and we got to resurrect our wife for like 5 minutes. There are no heroes in Greater Marrow, just people trying to survive and do what they think is right. and what we thought was right was in fact wrong. The end. In conclusion, I really like this game. It's very relaxing. I like to come home from work sometimes and just go around filling out the rest of my bestiary. If you're looking for a good story with amazing atmosphere, great gameplay, and just a delicious soundtrack, go buy Dredge. It's worth your while. What's the joke I really like to use? If, yeah, I rate this game my ass out of 10. I've been the Irate Gamer, and remember, breakfast is ruined. Have a great night.